All right, all right. Let's get this show on the road with this interview. Thank you for doing this with me. A lot of the times when I do these interviews, it's directly after the program. But with you, I wanted to wait a little bit just because I knew you had a goal of running this Broad Street run. Now, how many times have you ran the Broad Street run?
This was my 8th year doing it.
Eight. That is crazy. And you PR'd this time. You remember your time last year?
So last year was rough. I did not train as much as I usually do for the Broad Street, and they had kind of changed the format of the run a little bit. But really, it just boiled down to like I just wasn't in good running shape,
Yeah,
and the weather that day was
I'm
horrific. Like,
sucky. I
yeah.
remember it.
So Broad Street's it's a 10-mile run. Whenever I run Broad Street, when I hit 8 miles, I'm like hitting the wall and I'm having a
Yeah.
tough time. But knowing like, okay, there's only 2 more miles left, like I'm gonna power through. And usually my wife, Sarah, is somewhere like right at that mile 8 marker. So
Seven to eight. Yeah.
yeah, gives me that little bit of extra motivation. But I just remember last year hitting that mile 8. Sarah jokes all the time that I ran by her and like I was just like out of it. I don't even remember what I said to her, but I finished the race and she
She
goes,
told me the story. She was like, he ran by me, and I didn't even think he saw me at first, but like right when he ran by me, he was like, I'm struggling.
yeah, yeah. And she was like, "Do you remember what you said to me?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "You had the saddest look on your face, and all you said, this is really hard."
Yeah.
So last year was not great, and I finished with still a respectable time, I guess, but not my personal best. And so I believe it was somewhere around 5 or 6 minutes slower than previous years. And
Yeah.
like up at that point, I had always kind of done a little bit better every year. Just I think like getting used to running the race and knowing the format, how to get my pace down, where to drink
Yeah.
water, listen to music, not listen to music, like listen to the crowd at City Hall because it's just such a fun environment. But yeah, so going into this year, I knew I needed to do better just to be happier with my own result and my expectations. Right after Christmas and New Year's, I was just feeling crappy. We had gone on a big trip in the fall. We were away for a little over 3 weeks, eating, drinking, just not taking care of myself really. Holidays, like it all just like compounded on itself, and I just felt terrible. Was I think probably the heaviest or close to the heaviest I've ever been. I reached out to you. I was talking about like hitting the gym and starting up, working out a little bit again, and you said, "Hey man, I got this 60-day challenge. Like, why
Just
don't you
do
just
this.
yeah, just do this?" So, and I think it was even like a week or two before I was planning on like actually getting back into the groove. So it was good. It's like
Because it forced
it
you
was,
to do something, kind
it
of.
was, yeah, it was like I got to start now. And literally within 2 weeks of doing your program, I just felt like just my body felt so much better. The weight was obviously coming off, but just improving in everything. My runs were faster. I was feeling stronger, less bloated with the meal plan. Stuck to that pretty closely. I think I even felt at a certain point, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks into the program, I was just so happy with the results that I was already getting that
You
like
just put one on cruise control after that.
yeah, I kind of went on cruise control and it just like everything else just after that 4 week mark just kind of felt like icing on the cake because I was just like,
Yeah.
I already lost more weight than I thought I was going to lose and I feel better than I thought I was going to feel. By the time we finished it, it was awesome. I mean, I was feeling really, really good about myself. So yeah, it was like about another month after that, kind of switched from doing your program back to like, all right, I got to like start doing some longer runs. I really appreciated that you built those into the program too. Every week we did a long run, but I needed to get up to, anywhere from 4 to 7 miles a couple times a week just to get ready for that long run with Broad Street. And so, yeah, got to Broad Street this year. It was just a fantastic year for the run. The city was like so excited. It was a beautiful day, tons of people out. I had a couple friends running it with me. We took the subway up to the start. I was just feeling so good about myself and about the day and about being in the city and doing this race that I love. And like usually I listen to music when I'm running.
Yeah.
Um, Even in races, sometimes I do that. But this year I was just like, I had my headphones and I was just like, no, I'm good. Like I'm not gonna listen to any
The
music.
crowd is buzzing. You hear like
Yeah.
the noise and everything. And like, yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy this run. And dude, I didn't even put on my running tracker. I didn't have my watch with me. So I had my phone. So I turned on Map My Run when I crossed the start.
Hmm.
Um, and then I put it in my little water bottle carrier, and I didn't look at
Yeah.
it the whole race. So I had no,
You
I
went
was,
naked. You went
yeah,
dark zero.
yeah, no music, no run tracker, and I was just feeling myself, feeling good, feeling the crowd, feeling the city, feeling the whole race, and just enjoying it. I think it was like that culmination of, doing your program, then that month of training that I did on my own. I remember I got down to where my wife Sarah was at, and that was close to mile 8, and she wasn't expecting to see me when I actually
When you
got
got
down
there.
to it. She was like cheering, she was kind of looking around, but like I startled her because I came up on her too
Yeah.
quick. It was like a solid 10 minutes before I think she was expecting to even see me. And
Yeah.
that's what hit me. I was like, oh, I think I'm doing pretty good. And so I pulled out my phone to look at my pace, like right around mile 9. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh man, I'm
I'm
kicking butt.
moving.
Yeah, like I'm doing. And that last mile, I just like went into overdrive and just ran it as quick as I could. Yeah, I ended up PRing, and the difference between last year and this year was close to about 8 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which is
That's
that's pretty,
crazy.
and that's a 10-mile run, so you're talking a little less than a minute off of your average pace. It's a pretty big difference, especially for someone like me who runs pretty regularly. Be able to not only get to that, but even better than all previous years, which is just an incredible feeling. And talk about runner's high. The end of that race and like for the next week, I was just
Feeling
so high.
good.
Yeah, felt awesome about myself. It's definitely a testament to your program and a credit to you as a coach helping me stick with it 2 full months.
What's cool about that story is something that a lot of people don't talk about as often. There's a big difference between how you feel at 22 years old and how you feel at 29. There's a big difference between 29 and 31. Even though it's like a small amount of time relatively, there's a big difference. And especially nowadays where you see general health kind of on like a decline or like a low here in our country or in the Western world, where you have fast food so accessible and you have technology so accessible that it makes us less active than what we were in the past. When you can say that I am still getting faster or I'm still getting stronger, especially when we're talking about 10 miles, that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing to say I did better than my 23-year-old self.
that is a really good feeling. I'm 31. I'm still consider myself like a very young man. I think there are things that I could do when I was in my 20s that just like recovery times were a lot easier. I could hit the
Mhm.
gym and like lift heavy and not feel as sore the next day. Now it's takes a little bit longer to get up in the morning to recover after doing a hard workout or a long run. But yeah, the biggest thing with your program was actually the meal plan because I'm pretty active already with my job and doing stuff around the house. We bought a house a couple of years ago, so I'm always kind of doing projects and tinkering. Like
You got a
I'm,
dog,
I'm pretty
take
active. Yeah, we got a
take out.
dog. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So I run, I bike, I do a lot, but the workouts were awesome, and it was great to get up early and get a my dog get a little extra workout in. But really, for me, it was the meal plan. I'll admit I got a really bad sweet tooth. If there's dessert laying around, like it's not gonna last long. I really liked your meal plan because there was a lot of variety with stuff, and I tried some new things, but I always felt full and
Yeah,
satisfied with the food, literally from breakfast to supper. Throughout the day, it was 3 good meals, and then those snacks in between, those
yeah,
recovery meals after workout
yeah.
helped a lot to kind of fill some of those gaps between the meals too. Even after it was probably after 4 weeks because you had released a couple of the meal plans at that point. There were things that I really enjoyed eating in like that first phase that I
You
kind of
just
like
kept.
incorporated into the
Yeah,
next one. So I was like, I
that
like
happens
that
all the
meal,
time, and
like
that's a good thing.
yeah, and like I literally still eat the one meal you had was just like a mix of pineapple and other fruits with nuts and some other berries
Yeah,
and cinnamon in there and like a dab of yogurt. And I'm like,
yeah,
this is the easiest breakfast to make in the morning. Like you just kind of throw it all together and like I just eat it while I'm driving to work.
and
And
it's
it's
satisfying, and
it's
it's
so satisfying.
protein. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I always feel full after eating that. And like I know it's good food and I feel good after eating it too. So like that's one that like just I just incorporated into my regular diet.
And my number one goal is to always make sure that you don't feel like you're dieting really,
Right.
because as soon as people feel like they're dieting, they kind of resist and they get like almost like freaked out and then they get scared. And so if you put things that are like tasty, things that are fulfilling, people will not feel like they're dieting, so they're more likely to stick to it. A testament to you guys. I remember Sarah coming up to me and saying, "I feel good
Yeah.
eating this meal plan,"
Yeah. It's
and she
funny
wasn't
that,
even doing the whole rest of the program with us, but she's eating the meals. So that
yeah,
made me feel
definitely.
good too. Like, oh, you're getting secondhand results from Jordan's program.
Yeah, like that's something that I guess you don't think about either. If you have a family, a significant other that you regularly eat with, you're not going to
Yeah,
make two separate meals. They're also going to be
exactly.
doing this hopefully with you, or at least part of this with you. I'm lucky my wife usually makes dinner. She was eating the same stuff I was, and just an unintended consequence of that was like she also lost a little bit of weight and she was feeling
Yeah,
good too.
that's
Even without
awesome.
doing the workouts. And again, that is to your point of like 80% of this is the meal. It's the
Yeah,
meal plan. That's something that I think a lot of people hear and maybe they kind of know, but the default is I want to lose weight. I need to go for a run, or I need
yeah,
to like, I just need to sweat. I need to get busy, And it's like,
yeah,
nah, man, if you just eat right, maybe cut down your drinking a little bit. Like if you
yeah,
just watch your calories, watch your fat, all this, like, and your meal plan was so easy to follow that like I didn't even have to really think about it. It was just like,
yeah.
okay, follow this and I'll be good. And like the results clearly showed that.
I'm glad that you felt that and recognized that. That's what I hope people get out of like a program like mine, because a lot of people who struggle with this weight loss thing, they do have like a broken or bad relationship with food, or they don't have a relationship at all, and they need someone to help them like introduce them to this is what good eating looks like. It doesn't look like you have to have a salad every single day, but you can have things like this and things like this. And we did have fun things on the meal plan too, fun snack options and fun smoothie options.
Those little like treats in the middle of the day for me
Yeah.
was such a big help. And I love those little the banana bites with the peanut
Yeah,
butter and the
I
chocolate because it
always do that.
like I know they're good and it's like I know it's good food, but it's like I'm kind of like tricking myself because I feel like it's a treat.
Like
It's like a
yeah,
sweet
you
little
feel like you're
treat.
cheating. Yeah,
Right. But it's
exactly.
not. It's like it's good food for you.
That's
And
the number one thing when people feel like, oh, wait, I can eat this. I feel like I'm
yep.
cheating this thing. Yeah,
Yep.
that's super helpful. So the first day you checked in with your weigh-in, do you
Yes.
remember your check-in weight?
Yeah, it was like 207. Yeah.
And do you remember what you finished at?
I think it was right around 189. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
it's yeah. That's like I said, after 3 or 4 weeks, I was feeling good, and everything after that was just like icing on the cake. Honestly, I haven't been below low 190s in about 8 years. So that's a
That's
pretty big,
crazy.
yeah.
And the cool part about it too was it wasn't like you were a frail 180 something. You were feeling good, strong,
Yeah.
doing all the daily exercise challenges like the squat jumps, push-ups, the sit-ups, all that stuff. I feel like that's like an easy way to PR. You PR because you're feeling strong and you're feeling
Right.
like good. Your body's going like it's like a well-oiled machine.
I think a big difference for me that helped with the PR at Broad Street was, and this is probably true of a lot of people, when you go and lift, a lot of people focus on upper body, glamour muscle kind of stuff, right? Like that's
Yeah.
that's what everybody wants to do. I'm guilty of that. Like I hate doing squats. No, I don't like doing lunges. Like
Yeah.
leg stuff, it's important, and I know it is, and I try to work it in, but I know I don't do it
It's
as
not
much as I do.
sexy.
It's not sexy. I don't do
Yeah.
I do the upper body stuff a little bit more. So your program made me do a lot of this lower body stuff. And it also helped with my flexibility, which helped
Yeah.
with recovery. It was all of it. I think that was something that I didn't realize until after Broad Street when I PR'd. I was like, oh, a big part of this is because my legs were stronger. Like I told you, like I usually hit that 8 mile wall. Like I just
Yeah.
blew right through that.
Well,
And
Sarah
that
told
was
me she's like, this year I saw him. He looked way different.
yep.
I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, because like he's stronger, legs stronger, core stronger. Like you said, more flexible. You'll feel totally different doing something
Right.
like that. That's one thing I tell a lot of my runners, especially a lot of my older runners. I'm like, you got to keep up with your strength training because that's what's going to like keep you going, keep you injury free, or at least
Yep.
lower your risk of injury and help you with recovery. And one thing that I loved about what you did with the program, you really took advantage of every part. You did the virtual fitness boot camp, which is more like HIIT training. You did strength class,
Mhm.
you did yoga, you got the full experience of the program. That's what I really hope for people. They at least taste everything and try everything so they could see what works for them, what doesn't. All of these have their own benefits.
Yeah, it was a good mix of classes and obviously having it at different times of day as well. I'm one of those people that my work schedule is always just kind of sporadic and
Yeah.
can be all over the place. And so being able to get up in the morning most mornings and like know that you're going to be on,
Yeah.
and if I don't make that, then there's probably one in the midday. If I've got a day off, I can do that. Or,
Yeah.
if I miss
Or in
all
the
those,
evening.
then
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
in the
Now that I
evening
think
they're
about
there.
it, now that I think about it, you work that like every single time. I've seen you 6 a.m. in the morning. I've seen you at
Right.
12 noon, and I've seen you in the evening too. So yeah,
Yeah, and it was that flexibility was really nice, but just the different kinds of programs as well. Like I've done yoga a few times in my life, but doing the Wednesday yoga session was awesome. I know my flexibility is awful. Yoga is something I know I should probably do a lot more, and like having that on the schedule is just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna sign in and get that done.
that's good, man. I'm super happy. I'm super proud of you. One thing that's tough to do sometimes, especially when you are an active person, you have your treadmill at home, you have a gym at work, and we're guys in our younger years. Sometimes it's hard to be like, you know what, I'm going to join a program and like follow something because
Yeah.
we know how to do things on our own. I appreciate you saying yes and joining. And I appreciate you staying consistent. And even while you were in it, cheering other people on and being like a positive force of energy in the group. I really appreciate that. And now, leading up to next year's Broad Street Run, you know exactly what we got to do
Yeah, got to do it again, man.
for
Yeah, I know.
January and February.
I got a
All right.
PR again, you know.
Yeah, you
I
got to
can't
keep it going.
I can't be worse, but yeah, I'm honestly I'm ready to do another one. It is just that accountability, it's that community part of it too that you mentioned, like the Facebook group. There were days where I didn't do a workout, but like I was maybe just doing the meal plans, or like the daily challenges that you would do were great too.
Yeah.
Just a little something to get you moving. And there were a couple days there where it's like I didn't get a workout in, but I did the daily challenge and like I posted in the group and everybody's still like, hyping each other up and feeling good
Yeah.
about what they did today. And like that little bit of community feeling of it too was just really, really awesome.
It
And
keeps you on pace and it keeps you accountable and it makes you feel like, oh, I'm not in this alone. Other people are
right
struggling along with me.
there,
I usually end this with one simple question, and that's something I ask everyone who's done a program like this. Let's say it is around Christmas time, and we are talking to someone who is considering getting into shape for the new year of next year. What would you tell them about 60-day jumpstart challenge with resilience?
I would say obviously sign up for it. It's
Yeah.
I like my experience in it speaks for itself. I think that people are scared to do any type of fitness challenge or meal plan or anything like that. But like I quickly realized, and this was even before day one, you had started
Mhm.
sending out the meal plans and the workout breakdowns for the whole month and like what we
Yeah.
could do and all the different kinds of stuff that was going to be involved. I quickly realized like, oh, Mike's got this. Like Mike
Sweet.
knows what he's doing, and all I got to do is just like kind of follow this. I could tell right away. I was like, there's going to be times where I'm going to have some down weeks. I'm going to have some weeks where maybe I'm not doing everything by the book that Mike has in here, but it's all good. Like I'm still
Yeah.
in this group. I'm still working towards this goal. Any movement is good movement. Following any part of the meal plan is going to be better than probably what I'm going to eat anyway. So like,
Yeah.
it's like if I just do a decent amount of this, I'm going to be good and I'm going
You're
to
gonna
feel
be
good.
good. Yeah.
And like I said, literally within a couple weeks, that was happening. I don't want to say results were instantaneous because everybody's going to be different. But for me, it was basically instantaneous. And I
Yeah.
just felt good. And I knew that, like, if I just kept doing this, it's just going to compound on itself and it's just going to be better and better and better. You can't help but like talk about this stuff too when you're doing it. I try not to because I don't want to show off or anything like
Yeah.
that. But it's like you feel really good about yourself and you want to like share that with people you care about. And so I had this buddy at work. We work out together sometimes, and I was telling him about the challenge I was doing, and he was like, "Oh, that's really cool. I've never done a class like that before." And I was like, "Oh, well, why don't you just join me?" And I reached out to you, and I was like, "Hey, is it cool if one of my
Oh,
coworkers
he's the
joins?"
guy who joined us for one of the strength
Yeah, and
classes.
and he loved it. And like, and you were totally cool about like, yeah, he was like, yeah, sure, it's no big
Yeah.
deal. So yeah, he joined and like he loved it. He had a great time, and like that just goes to show like just try it, like
Yeah.
give it a shot. It might be something that you really enjoy doing that
Yeah.
you might not have tried before, but also just know that like Mike's got your back and you're gonna be okay. Like
Sweet.
you're
Sweet.
gonna have tough days and Mike's gonna be there for you.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks for saying that. That's what I really hope to try to get across when people feel a little uneasy about these things. Because, like you said, it's new, it's different. A lot of people have tried other things in the past, and especially a guy that looks like me, big, scary guy, right?
The other thing I'll say real quick, especially with the workouts, you always had some type of modification for all of the moves. Like
Important. Yeah.
it's so important. And that's something that I didn't really realize. Prior to this, I made up workouts in my mind, or you like find something on YouTube to follow or whatever. You're
Yeah.
trying to do it exactly how they're doing it or how you have it in your head of like, I got to get this many reps of this and I can't compromise on my form. With your workouts, it was okay, here's what I would like you to be doing. But if you
Yeah.
can't do that, that's fine. And here's a
Yeah.
different way to do it. You're gonna build up to doing it the way that I'm hoping you can do it by
Exactly. That's so important for people because it makes it more inclusive. It meets people at the point of their needs and it gives people a way to one, still feel like they're doing something and doing something that's worthwhile, but two, it also gives them the ability to do something at the rate or at a pace that they can do, which will get them stronger to the point where they can do, whatever is like the mainstay objective.
Any movement is good movement. And so if you can
Yeah.
do a modified version of it and work up to the real thing, that's awesome. Like good for you.
Yeah.
That's where you should be. I think that's something that everyone struggles with, even the most fit person. There's something that you are going to struggle with. And like for me, it was any exercise that took flexibility strength, not just like
Yeah.
brute hard strength. Flexibility is always my issue. So you always had some type of modification for the more flexibility based
Yeah.
workouts. And I really appreciated that.
Well, thank you so much, man, for taking the time out today. I was super excited that you joined the program. I was just super excited that you followed along with it. And when you texted me after the race, and I was like super hype. I went up to Jack and I was like, look, look, look. And I was all like
Yeah.
bragging about you.
I guess the last thing I'll say is just like the biggest testament to your programs is that I saw a few people in the group that I was with that had done it previous years, and the fact that they come back is
Yeah.
obviously shows that it works and they enjoyed it and they want to keep doing it. And so, yeah, I'm like totally ready to do another one. Looking forward to it.
Good.
So, like
Good.
that's yeah. Let's
So
go. Let's
now
do
you got to get your friend to do it too, your
it.
coworker. Yeah, you got to get him to sign
Gotta
up
get
for it.
Sarah to do one too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that
And
that'll be that'll be good.
tell her to put the treadmill down on 0 grade to start. And then we'll
She
build up back to an incline.
she she also said I'm not allowed to use the treadmill anymore because I was putting too many miles on it and it started squeaking a little bit. And
Oh
she's like,
no.
that's my treadmill. Don't break my treadmill.
Go run outside. That's mine.
Yeah, well, yeah. Luckily now it's nice out again, so we're good.
All right, bro. Thank you for taking the time. I'll see you.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.